Hello and welcome to just me chatting about books today. Have to get some more emails out, a few more guests booked. We'll see if we can get Tiki or Panther to come say hello. Tiki, she's right on the other side of the laptop. Come here. Come here. Hello. Are you going to come over? And Panther was with me up until about 10 minutes ago. It's like he knows when, here you go, honey. It's like he knows when the camera's about to start, because then he takes off. So anyhow, today I'm just, hey, how you doing? Hi, Van. Hey, Bad. Just kind of semi-multitasking and trying to get myself organized. And I rearranged some of my books yesterday. Not bad, Ven. I've got, well, let's see, I can turn this around a bit. There's little Miss Teak Teak. And I got my ghost books over there. Rearranged that with, buffalo cherry limeade. That sounds yum. And buffalo wings. But yeah, so I got my ghost books all switched over there. So they're now together with my Time Life series, a basket of currently reading. I've got my UFO books all in the other room, and I finished just about all of them except for one on crop circles. And I'm going to be reading the Time Life one again. Oh, cool. The circus. Oh, that's an awesome theme. Greatest show library. Actually, Bat, I was thinking of you the other day. And now poor Ven's hungry. But when you were mentioning about your wigs, and I play match 3 games, and then of course the iPad's always showing different ads and stuff. So Temu keeps coming up. I'm not an online shopper, but I have to admit, I'm almost tempted because I have these amazing wigs and they're nice and long, $18 Canadian. And I have no idea it'd be a lot cheaper, I'm sure, in the States. And cool, I just faded out of my own. I've never been to Area 51. And yeah, there's so many different things about that. And it's come up, well, I've just heard about Roswell and then the ranch that Bigelow owns that they call Skinwalker Ranch. The company that owns it now is Adamantium. Enzo knew the guy's name last week, the owner of the company, and it's, named after Wolverine's, whatever his claws are made out of. Groovy, I buy my wigs cheap. That's a good deal. Yeah, we have a couple of costume places here. And a few years ago, my husband and I were both part of the Make-A-Wish Go Blue, Go Bald in February. One of the teachers at the school where I worked, he organized it every year. So basically in February, you dye your hair blue for the month and then you go bald. And most years I used to just dye my hair blue. This one year, I decided I was going bald. And to be honest, the only regret I have is that I didn't have my cell phone recording the faces of the people watching my hair go, because it was as long as it is now. And some of my coworkers were like, don't do it. But I did it to honor a friend of mine who had passed from cancer. So I did that in her memory. And then for a month, I had wig of the day. So I'd gone and bought a bunch of different wigs and kind of had fun at work. And yeah, I still have a couple of the wigs that I bought from them, and the other for that. And the others I donated to one of the school programs, a drama class, because they always needed wings and things. Colors, I may do a few more. I've had a couple of videos with one of the wigs that I had when I had the black curly hair. And yeah, I'm actually thinking of doing a few more, but I think, well, first of all, I'm still trying to decide what to do with my hair. I still have, because I haven't dyed it in ages, but I still have a black and I have red. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do the two-tone, part black, part red. And then I have some funky colors. So I'm thinking I might leave the ends pink and black and then see what that looks like in a braid. I figure, most people are going out to buy Halloween costumes. I'm just kind of growing mine. If I take my ponytail out, it'll come down to here. And I could be like Cousin It. You dye your hair, Van? Really? I mean, I know, and you know what? For guys, it's kind of easier because the dye you guys get is like, what, 5-10 minutes? I don't know why ours has to stay in for like 30 minutes or whatever. Nice. Yeah, I love that mix of, see, my hair was naturally brown. And the funny thing is, for my wedding, I actually had to dye the ends of it because I hadn't been dyeing it for ages. And yeah, I had to actually dye the tips so it matched into my natural color. But it's been a long time since I've had that brownish color going on. It's pretty much, yeah, pretty much all gray. I get the odd dark tint in it, but not much now. And I used to tease some of my kids that they owed me Clairol because the gray hairs were kind of from them and all the shenanigans going on. So, hey, what are the two of you reading these days? Bad, I need to look at your video. I see you've got one up about a horror book. And then I actually watched your tag and printed it off. So I think I'm going to try doing that. It's the honesty tag. And I was, just before I came on, there's a couple other tags I want to do. So I've been writing out the books. Slaughterhouse 5. Oh, that sounds lovely. A horror book, I'm guessing. And agreed about there's some great ones. And Ven, I don't know if you've seen Bads, and I really want to do the thing. She had all her mugs out, and I have to admit, Bad, I didn't pick the floral one, but I loved all the different mugs that you had. And actually, I've got, oh, where is Jack at the moment? Oh, here he is. Oh, my Jack skeleton. There we go. My Jack skeleton. Love this guy. The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. I love the animation, the music, And one of these days, I may actually get to play the trivia game. May do that for one of the lives. Slaughterhouse. Yeah, I was going to say, Bad would love that title. Sci-fi, really? Yeah, Jack is amazing. From the movie Coraline, I didn't really enjoy as much, and I'm not sure why, but I loved The Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride. Those are both amazing. Modern Classics Calendar Election. Time travel stuff. Interesting. Yeah, the title definitely wouldn't give that one away. Well, I finally, even though I have crop circles and stuff, I finally got back to, because I've been wanting to read this again. This is David Wilcock's The Synchronicity Key. It's conspiracy theory and other kind of stuff. The hidden intelligence guiding the universe and you. Excuse me, my allergy stuff. I don't know. It was an interesting read the first time, and I decided to pick this one up again because, on top of all the UFO stuff, and of course, there's conspiracies and government and all that stuff that goes into it. And I couldn't remember if some of the names I came across came up in this book. So I'll have to wait and see. I know, and it's interesting, and I've come across it. His premise is that time is cyclical, so that different things keep coming up over the span of different time periods. And and I've come across it before, he's comparing, except I can't remember where it was, and it's been a long time since I've read it. He compares Lincoln to somebody else, and there were a lot of really bizarre, I'm not going to find it right now. Or does he have, let's see, J.B. Lincoln, 37 to 40. Let's see if he does have the chart here. Lincoln Kennedy. There we go. So he connects Abraham Lincoln to John F. Kennedy. So I have to see what some of that stuff is. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. Collection, no idea where calendar election came from. Yeah, I'll have to, there's so many different things, and and now I don't have my notebook with me. I'm going to have to start making a point of, when I'm watching videos, have that near me, because there's so many different titles and things, and I keep thinking, I'll go back and I'll watch the video, and I need to write that down. And I mean, my cubes over here, and that's another thing I did change yesterday. This used to be all my coloring stuff, but it's a whole other set of books that I have yet to read. And then I moved all they're in behind there, but all my coloring things and my pencil crayons, hey Diane, are down there. So now I've got all some of my art supplies and coloring here. Some are in the other room. I finally, because I'm that kind of a nerd, got my books added to my master list and my thumb drive, which means I can go shopping again, because now all my books are accounted for. But maybe I should behave and just keep reading through what I own. And I've tried a few on audio, which, now that I know I can speed things up, is great, because otherwise they're too slow for me. Yeah, we haven't had the History Channel in ages. We haven't had cable in probably 15 or more years. And streaming video, it just irks me because it's the same as cable. You have to get so many to get the like a little handful of shows that you want to watch. Pyramids, yeah, I've got a bunch of books on the pyramids, and I enjoy watching shows about them as well, and the aliens. We tried Gaia TV for a little while, and I don't know, may actually go back to that again. They had some interesting series on UFOs and Sasquatch, and I just enjoy hearing about that. I mean, I think there has to be intelligent life out there somewhere, just from the sheer size of not just our own Milky Way galaxy, but the universe or multiverse, as many people call it now. It's huge. And I mean, when I was growing up, other planets were science fiction stuff, as in outside of our solar system. Whereas now they've found so many of these other planets, and there's that potential. And I know it's, I just read about it. It's the Drake equation. And I mean, most of it is guesstimating because they have no specific way to figure out how long does a civilization last or any of that. But you have to figure there has to be something out there somewhere, and not necessarily that it looks like us or anything like that, but there has to be something somewhere else out there that, whether they have space travel or not, who knows? And I mean, people also forget when you're looking at the sun, you're looking 8 minutes into the past because that's how long it takes the light from just our star to reach us. And all these other stars that we're looking at, I mean, it's thousands and millions of years ago. So even if there were other civilizations, I mean, they may have been long gone. There may be some that are just starting. There's so many different factors involved with it. And the pyramids I find fascinating because even in this day and age with all the machinery and everything else, they still really have no idea how the pyramids were built, let alone what they actually are. I mean, personally, I'm not buying that whole burial theory that people have put out. I can't imagine even, I mean, the world was different for sure and priorities, but I just cannot imagine that they would have spent that much time building these massive buildings as a tomb, especially when life and death was so uncertain back then. I mean, to build one of those would have taken a long time, no matter how they did it. I mean, I've seen theories about whether it was sound or whether, I've seen the thing with the ramps, which in itself would have been a massive, big thing to try and do. There's just, for as smart as our scientists think they are, they still, like I say, they haven't figured out how to make the pyramids. They haven't figured out how, Machu Picchu was put together, and that's like huge up in the mountains. And then you've got the different quality of air and everything to factor in. There's just so much that they don't understand. So yeah, I enjoy looking at shows about that, reading books about that. I definitely need to get back into some of those, but first I've got to finish my little UFO spiral and stay on track with that. I'm just wiggling around here to try and get comfy. But yeah, so I've got the different UFOs, well, different UFOs, the UFOs and conspiracies. So that's pretty much what some of the book chat will be about during August and September. And then October, looking at different vampire stories, getting into H.G. Wells and ghosts. And the cryptids will kind of overlap because that's the other thing a lot of people are talking about is how the UFOs and the cryptids and the paranormal, instead of being all separate fields, there's so much that connects all together. So, yeah, taking a look at that and the overlap. And then December is just going to be happy time, chill, fun books. Because December can be such a challenge for so many different people that need to. And I thought I just saw them. Oh, I must have put them somewhere else again. Where did I put my little guys? Nope. I must have moved them to the other room. My politically, oh, here they are. Oh, I just didn't see them. So I've got all three of them now. The politically correct, says politically correct holiday stories, Once Upon a More Enlightened Time, and politically correct bedtime stories. And I think these are hilarious because even though they're from the mid 1990s and they were politically correct for that time, now in 2024, sadly, they may not be politically correct anymore. Okay, I'm wondering, is my Wi-Fi still working? I hope so. Because for some reason, if there are comments, they're not coming through. So I'll have to wait, and I'm just going to check my Wi-Fi here. I don't know if I'm going to have to. I haven't had to. Oh, hey, perfect. Thanks, Van. I just wanted to know if it, because like I say, for a little while, it blew me out of my own screen, and it wouldn't be the first time that I ended up getting kicked out of my own live stream. So I'm glad that when I had guests, it all went good. Multitasking is a good thing. I need to do some of that sometimes too. And I thank you so much for that suggestion or reminder about the watch later. So what I need to do is start getting some videos into my watch later folder. And then as I start sitting and going through trying to pull together all these dates and different information and things, then I can have the videos playing while I'm working away at my desk. Because, there's so many there and it's hard to pick and so many great channels. So what I need to do is go through my list of channels and figure out which videos, because some I'm okay and I can skip because it either isn't a genre of book that I'm going to be reading or what have you. And I know people don't watch all my videos, and that's cool. That's why I tell people, turn on the notification bell so you know when I upload content that's of interest to you, because some people are here to watch the cats, some are here to watch nature, some are here to watch the book videos. And, there's so many videos that go up every day. And yeah, it just gets hard to try and pick and choose sometimes, but you've got to set priorities. And then there's all those other things to try and get done in a day as well. So yeah, I've at least got my books pretty much where I want them now. The next thing, because I set up my list and put up the video of the different things that I'm going to be presenting over the next few months. That should help me stay on track with some of my reading. The nice thing is I've eliminated my Goodreads goal because I only set it at 50 for this year. And I just updated Goodreads yesterday, and I'm at, woohoo, I think 78 out of 50. But I think what I'm going to do next year is set it like at some stupid low number like 10, because I know me and I get very competitive with myself. And as soon as I get close to that number, then it just becomes about getting over that hump and reaching the goal. So if I set it crazy low, then all right, I've participated, but then I'm not getting caught up in the, having to reach it. Yeah, I tried to find you on Goodreads yesterday, but I couldn't. And I'm on there as Cobalt Dragon. So if you want to find me on Goodreads, I'm on there. Actually, I have a link on my homepage now that I just thought about it. And yeah, I finally got that caught up. Now it's not here, but I have a book in the other room, and I keep track of my own reading on that. It's a technology trust issue thing. And I'm glad that I did it that way as well, because on Goodreads, I can see at a glance. I love the charts and the plot graph to see what years things are published. That's kind of cool as well. But keeping it on track in my own book, and I've switched to doing it month by month, was super handy when I did the intimidating TBR tag, because there's no way I would have figured that out without being able to look back through the months and what I'd been reading at the time. Oh, Diane, I think you mentioned Storygraph before. I still haven't checked that out. See, and I've got to get, I have so many bits of paper everywhere. It's insane. And I need to get them organized and start working my way through all these bits of paper that I have with book titles. And I know somebody recommended a website to me. Diane, I'm not sure if it was you, and I need to go check it out. It was about ancient things, and I think it was a YouTube channel that I need to check out. So I'm getting there bit by bit, and I'm not overwhelmed anymore. I was starting to spiral a little bit, and that was part of what motivated me to make that video. Is just like, I'm trying to figure out my reading. I'm trying to keep up with book events. I want to do this. I want to do that. I wanted to get my Hoax or Holy Grail series going. And it was just one of those, it's not necessarily a bad, oh, thank you, Ancient Egypt in the Bible. Yay, I remember who recommended it. I haven't got there yet, though, but I do have it written down. I just found the paper I had it on while I was organizing my desk in the other room. So that's something else that I need to do. So I figure if I get little bits done now and again, and I just keep on track with it, because what I find is, sometimes when I get back to something, I've actually had more in place than I thought I did. And then I get, sidetracked and come back to it. So it's just setting up that routine and being able to keep up with things. But yeah, I'll need to check out that story graph and see as well. Dan, is it mostly for keeping track of your reading, or are there other things to it as well? Because there's lots of things that I like about Goodreads, but the communities I find are hard to keep up with. So I haven't really met many people through Goodreads. I like it for the tracking, and there's lots of great groups and communities there. It's just to try and keep up with the messages are brutal, and especially with some of the bigger groups, like there's tons of new messages all the time, and I can't. I mean, again, it goes back to there's just so many hours in the day. Like Goodreads, but more data. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out because I've only really been using Goodreads since January 2022. I've had an account for years, but just never really got into it and spent time on it. But I finally decided to start tracking my reading on it, which I am glad. Dr. Fox, an Egyptologist, talks about a lot of cool stuff, history, pyramids. Nice. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. There's another one, and I know I'm still subscribed. What is it called? Not Quest. Ugh, mind fart. It's not going to come. But I'll try and remember to talk about it or put it into one of my description boxes. It's another one, really cool one with an Egyptologist and the different discoveries they've made with the mummies and Odyssey. Might have Odyssey in the name. Like I say, I can't completely remember yet. And Ven, I think I was just one of your videos, you mentioned the Wheel of Time, and it's back there. I still have to finish New Spring, which is, hey, Constance, how are you? I have to finish New Spring, which is the last one to do that series. And my husband also bought me a separate book on the Wheel of Time that goes through all the characters and goes through the places, because there's so many different cities and things to try and keep up with. So I do have to thank Prime for at least starting the series. That's how I found out about the books. I had no idea. I think they're from, is it 2015 or something like that? They're not a new series. They may even be older than that. And I really enjoyed reading them. I didn't know when I started there were 15 books. I was thinking, maybe 3 or 4, not 800 or so pages each. But I have to admit, it was a great read, and I ended up just plowing through them like crazy. But yeah, Diane, I'll definitely have to look up the name of that channel. And because I know me, if I don't write this, see, I've got my little pencil case, and I always keep it with me when I'm reading. It's handy, not just so that Tiki doesn't go running off with my pencils. Pencil case is handy for a lot of things. I'm going to put down check Egypt channel. Because, yeah, I think, and note. Thinking there's Odyssey in it. My mom just laughing, little Tiki's over on the, okay, hopefully I stay on here. I'm just going to open another window here and see, because I should be able to find it quick. She says as she goes through and through and through and through and through. Nope, not the octagon. Do 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 do. Oh, figures. Nope, I'm gonna have to. Uh-oh! Oh, okay. Phew. Am I still here? Yay, I'm still here. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a look and track that down. But I think they do cover a bit more than Egypt as well on that channel, and it's pretty fascinating. And I was just today doing my video on my Sasquatch book, and I don't have any channels that I really follow related to that, Bigfoot and such. I've got a few paranormal channels that I follow, and there's only the one book, and that's by Rupert Matthews, that, like I say, I just did my video on it, but I haven't really found any books specifically dedicated to Sasquatch. There's a few now that, because they're combining UFO stuff with the Sasquatch stuff, so they come up together in the same book. And there's a few other things I need to track down about the mythology and such things, because I know it's a part of the Native American mythology, but they have, I'm pretty sure, a different name for it, and it depends on which part of the country and the name that they refer to. And I'm pretty sure it's an entirely different being or presence from the Wendigos, which was mentioned in the one book. But I know I was watching one channel and they were talking about the Wendigo related to, I'm pretty sure they mentioned Mohawks. And the channel was from Quebec here in Canada, and how it relates to that specific area. Whereas the skinwalkers are down in, I think it's the Midwest, Utah and Arizona, and has to do with the Navajo. I think it's Ute, UTE. And I think there are a couple of other tribes that have the myth as well, that it's part of their oral traditions. Now, is that Steve Donahue, Diane, as far as book recommendations? I had to be honest, like with that, I haven't really checked too much. I know years ago there were a few different books, because even with Loch Ness, and that's another thing. I mean, that's with the cryptids. There's so many different creatures, and there was, what was that? Oh, it was actually this ghost book I just finished, Haunted Ontario by Terry Boyle. And he had an interesting story in here about Lake Ontario and a vortex in there, which I had no idea. So there were a few fascinating things that came up in that book as well. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to get a bit more into that. Okay, Steve Donahue. I don't really know. I've seen him a few times, so, but I don't really, and I've seen his channel, and I think I saw him on with Greg and Alan. So yeah, I need to follow up and find out, because like I say, I haven't really come across much, but then again, I haven't really been specifically looking in terms of that. And the Sasquatch and the Roswell that I found, I'm pretty sure that was from when I was still wandering around in Indigo in their discount section. So they were kind of fun finds. I'll have to see if I I come across anything in the thrift store, which is where I've built up quite a few of my ghost books lately, like this Terry Boyle one. I mean, you can't go wrong because this was originally selling for $22.99 and I picked it up for $4.50. So for the author, that's a bit of, well, I mean, somebody purchased the book, so he got his money and his royalties. But for me, as somebody on limited income, 450 fits my budget pretty good, especially if I get to the thrift stores on a sale day. And it makes it, so much easier to collect some of them. But yeah, I haven't really come across too many Sasquatch books. I mean, they must be out there because I know from reading it and a few channels I've caught now and again, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people wandering around out in the woods trying to find Sasquatch or people who think that they're wandering around their homes. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and this whole other dimensions and portals. I don't know. I'm not saying that it isn't a possibility, and I mean, who knows what's happened with the CERN collider and what they may or may not have opened with that thing, playing around with all the different things underground. That was actually something else. My husband and I were just watching Underground Worlds. It's on Prime, and it's crazy how many cities have a crap ton of massive tunnels and things underneath. I mean, I knew in Scotland they had all the different things underneath the cities and that. But I guess London, England also has a whole bunch of different things underneath there. There's caves and different things in Slovakia and other countries. I think there might have been one place they mentioned in the US. I think we still have a couple of episodes to finish, and France. And a lot of these started being constructed during the world wars because they were worried about nuclear fallout, different things. And the spaces are massive. Like, it's wild how far and how developed or built up these things are. Now, some of them are still being saved as bunkers in case something happens, and others have been repurposed. Some people are growing herbs and things under there, others are used for storage. Some have been turned into fancy restaurants and different things for a whole different experience, and they've got all kinds of electrical lights and things through there now. Some of the caves, they have different tours that you can go walking and do different things in. The one, and I'm claustrophobic, so I definitely never be down there. But there's one you can go down and it's kayaking, like, because the water is still there. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Ruins previous cities mainly. Good point, Ven. Yeah, and I mean, it's not just the UK. There's a lot of what the archaeologists have found built on top of. Okay, cool. You're in Florida. And underground tunnels there as well. Yeah, it's amazing how, and well, I was saying to my husband when we were watching these things, because I mean, we know what they are and what their purpose was, and they're metal tunnels and this and that. Only a few of the places were actually naturally formed caves. But I said, can you imagine being an archaeologist 500-600 years from now, and you go digging under Paris and you find all those bones? Like, what what would you even begin to make of that? Like, that culture was totally messed up and they thought bones were, art supplies, or how would they even take a guess at why all, like the catacombs, that why are all these bones set up like this? And then of course after that thought, I'm like, it's a lot like us digging things up in Egypt and all these other places. We have no idea some of the things that were going on or what the people's thoughts were. I mean, all we can do is take our best guess. But if you're not in the society, I mean, would someone 600 years from now go, hey, I bet their cemeteries were full and they wanted to build, so they just took up all the bodies and put them underground? It definitely isn't easy being an archaeologist and kind of trying to make sense of things, especially when you have no way to check or figure out, what these people could have been thinking or what the reasoning was, and other things that were going on. I mean, look at how quickly, and it just boggles my mind sometimes. I mean, okay, I'm 60, but that isn't ancient, and how much the world has changed in just that short period of time. And not just in terms of like me sitting here talking to a machine and people can hear me across the ocean, down, into the United States and everywhere else. There's just in terms of society and how things are done and produced, and the mindsets and what's acceptable and what isn't. It's just mind boggling how quickly things have changed. And I mean, who knows what the world's going to look like in just another 10 years, let alone, 20 and 30 years from now. And yeah, first we'll have to wait and see what the world's going to look like after November. And how that's all going to ripple out from the US and across the globe. Because, I mean, there's going to be big changes no matter who ends up getting in there. And yeah, it's in some ways the earth is huge, and in some ways it's so small, and what we do impacts each other so much. There's just, yeah, a lot to think about and process. And some days that's when I just go find me a good ghost book and hide away for a while. That's my brain break. Or going to sit out back and watching the bees. It was kind of nice this after, a little before the live stream, I went and sat out back, and I got to see the groundhog. The chipmunk was here again, so that was exciting. It's the second time I've been able to see a chipmunk in years, so that was fun. And there were squirrels, and the bees are all having a great time around the flowers and the birds. And yeah, had a visit with Lily, as I usually do when I take the food out. Yeah, well, it's not, yeah, there's so many things going on, Ven, and here in Canada and all over the world. And I mean, that's why I really keep trying to focus on and connect with the bright lights, and, so we can help each other stay burning bright and positive, because it can get very overwhelming some days. And I don't watch the news on purpose. I can't imagine watching the news and then trying to go to sleep. I've never been a big news person. Um, so I don't read the paper and I don't watch the news. It's funny, a friend of mine, she'll call if there's something uber important I need to know, or my husband listens to the radio and stuff. So I figure if there's something I need to know that bad, somebody will tell me or get a hold of me, but I just find it can get so depressing and overwhelming. And yeah, kudos to people who can do that. And there are things that, you kind of need to keep up on, and there's different ways to do it because I find the news, it's just, yeah, it's not always positive stuff, and rarely does the positive stuff get there. And yet there's so many things going on, but it's kind of like some of the stuff on YouTube. The clickbait channels seem to have a crap ton of subs and views and making money. And it's just, yeah, that was the one question. And I think then it was in the honesty tag about, have you put something up just for the sake of views? And I'm thinking, no, no, I haven't. I know there are some people who, not really in BookTube, I haven't noticed it there. But in some of the other things I watch, you can see in the titles and some of the thumbnails, it's like right now there's this huge hullabaloo about the Conjuring House. And I mean, honest to crikey, the number of channels that are currently, sharing their opinions and thoughts and everything else, and the views are all racking up. And I'm like, there's so many other things going on, and yet it's just the Conjuring House, the Conjuring House. And I'm like, yeah, drama rama, no thank you. Life is way, way too short for spending time on a ton of stuff like that, for sure. But yeah, so I'm just kind of, one day at a time and getting things slowly together. And yeah, so it was, how was the reading sprint, Ven? Did you have a few people show up? I'm at least getting, my reading is good. I mean, it's the one thing I end up spending a bit of time on. It's trying to get everything else organized that I need to come up with, not so much a set routine, because I can't do that kind of thing, but something that can, kind of go with the flow and work out. Need to look to see what's going on in the UK. Not big on the news. Sort of paying attention. Yeah. Yeah, Greg actually at Another Bibliophile Reads had a really good video today about the upcoming election and some thoughts and getting out to vote, which it is super important. Short, draining, yep, it can be. Hey, finish the book. Woohoo! And new people. Yay! Riots? Really? Oh no. Yikers. That's never good. See, to be honest, and again, here's the thing I don't pay attention on. I guess I'll have to ask my husband. He'll know. A few weeks ago, our liquor stores went out on strike over, I can't even remember what the issue was. And to be honest, I can't even tell you if they're still on strike or not, because liquor store is something I haven't been to, and I couldn't even tell you how long. But actually, the only reason I would go to the liquor store is to buy vodka. And that isn't to drink, that's to make my aromatherapy spritzers, because you put a bit of vodka in as a preservative. So I don't need a big bottle, I just need a certain proof of vodka. But I haven't made spritzers in a little while, like the spray, not spritzers to drink, but the spray with aromatherapy. So yeah, to be honest, I don't even know if they're still on strike or not. They may not be. But then it's sad, I didn't know the writers or the actors were on strike either. Go figure. But with the actors, I can be excused because, see, when other people go on strike, guess what? that means work is done, not TV and everything is still available. So can't even tell that they were on strike, and I don't watch the late night TV and stuff. So complicated mess, extremists jumped on, stoking the flames, of course. Twitter, no doubt. Yikers. And see, that's the one thing. There are, and don't get me wrong, there are a ton of good things about social media, whatever the platform, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, all of them. But then there's that other dark side that, well, uses it for, like you say, stoking the flames. And what is the new term now? Gaslighting. When I was growing up, it was just called pissing people off. But, now there's all these other new terms that go with it. And that's the unfortunate part, right? Is now with just a few keystrokes and a few posts and whatnot, you suddenly have these massive issues and things going on. It's I don't know, it's a very different world. And again, it's tough, right? Because you have people who think a certain way and they believe in what they're saying and they believe in what they're doing, and then you have people with an entirely different viewpoint. But then if you start saying who can say what, it's I don't know, it's such a mess. It's such a mess. That's like even well, beyond books, I noticed Renee had a post the other day about Utah and a whole list of books that they're having removed from their schools in the coming year. Greg was just talking about one of the governors. I can't remember the state that he's in, but he was for banning a bunch of books and things. And I'm just like, oh, people, like, come on. Although on the plus, we now have counter protests. There we go. Preaching tolerance and community. Yeah, well, and that's it, right? At least both sides get to be heard. And I don't know how you find that happy medium and balance, right? Because, like I say, that the people feel, believe what they're saying, and it's, yeah, having to find a way to come to that happy medium to work things out and get some open and honest communication going, where people are willing to listen to each other and try and find some kind of a compromise, because that's the only way we're going to get through it. Is this my way or the highway shit is just not going to work, because we all come to situations with our own experience, our own mindset, our own ideas. But that doesn't mean that we can't find some common ground and a way to make things better for everybody, not just, the one percenters or a select few. I mean, we certainly have the resources and everything else available. And if some of these governments would just pull their heads out of their asses and instead of pissing money away, actually do something to help the citizens and make things better. I mean, in my area, and it just makes me so mad. We have a growing problem, as do many areas, of people who are homeless. And I don't know, there's some other dumbass term now they've come up with, because, that makes a difference for the people living on the street, is what the hell term you're using. But anyway, there was a couple who donated $25 million to the city to help deal with the issue. which was, it's a huge amount of money. It's amazing that was donated. Now some of it's been pissed away because all these other agencies wanted to get in on the show, and they're still pissing around. Like they haven't done anything. So they've got this big lump of money. There's a variety of different things they could be doing, and they still haven't done anything. Because, of course, when you get 20 or 30 different agencies in there and they all want to do their own thing and they all think they have the answer, they've done nothing. So the issue's continuing. Who knows what's happened with the money? And it's like, people, seriously, by the time you're done talking this out, it's going to be another year. We're going to have more people on the streets because of other things. It's just insane. It's, I don't know. I wish there was an easier answer. Part of me thinks getting rid of the government would be part of it because, it's not like these people actually have qualifications for the different roles that they get put into. I mean, up here, we've got a graphic artist who, used to be our health minister. And I'm not sure if she's in charge of Indigenous affairs or what she's in charge of now. But I'm thinking, you're a graphic artist. How the hell did you get in charge of health issues? Like, what background do you have for that? And it's not just her. There's a bunch of the others who are in politics. And it's like, what the hell qualifies you to hold those positions? It's not like you're getting interviewed for the job or actually have a background in these different things that you're handing money out to or pulling numbers out of your ass going, hey, I bet this will work for that. And then they don't do anything. So it's like, no, that didn't work for that after all. It's, I don't know. There's got to be something coming that somehow is going to shift things for the better. I mean, do I think things are going to get great anytime soon? Probably not. But as we get through all of these other things, I think eventually things will improve. We just kind of have to get through all this other carp in the meantime. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not into wishing time away. And in a way, I'm glad I'm not psychic and see into the future. But I can't lie. I do wish I knew what the hell was going to happen after November, because that decision, even though, many of us are in other countries, whatever that decision's going to be is going to ripple out around the globe. And that's going to impact so many other different things. So we'll just have to make the most of every single day. New government has appointed actual specialists. That's amazing. We need some of those people then. Because that's the thing. I mean, these people sit in these roles and are making like big decisions that impact everybody, but they have no frickin' experience in the different areas that they're involved in, and it's, I don't know, to me, that's part of the mess is what other position in the world could you walk into with zero experience and zero knowledge and make a 6-figure salary, mind you, with a kick-ass benefit or pension plan, at least here in Canada, but you have no qualifications for what you're frickin' doing. You could do the talk and you got people to vote. And I mean, up here, it's different than down in the US, where our big federal election took a month. Our elections are not long and certainly not a year long. But up here in Canada, we don't vote for our prime minister. the whole country votes for whoever's in their area, and whichever of, well, we have three main parties here. We've got our liberals, I call them the liberals. We have our conservatives. At least they put the fact that they lie right in their name. They're cons. And then we have the NDP, no domestic product in Canada. And out of those groups, whichever party has the majority of seats across the entire country, it's the leader of their party who becomes our prime minister. So all these dumbass Canadians leaving comments under the news things, hey, Trudeau, blah, blah, is like, do you not even know how our system works, dumbass? Nobody voted for Trudeau outside of Trudeau's own area where he ran. Those are the only people who voted for Justin Trudeau. Nobody else in the country. The Liberals got the majority of seats, which is why Justin Trudeau is the prime minister. I mean, sometimes I wish people would just stay the hell away from their keyboard and stop spreading the stupid. Yeah, our systems are very similar. I mean, ours is based on the English system. But yeah, so here it's not a year-long thing. There are no, I mean, they've got some rallies and whatnot, but it's pretty much a month from when the election is called. There's a month. They boogie back and forth across the country, maybe a couple times. We have our little teeny ballots, like our ballots. I'm just trying to. So, I mean, this isn't a huge card, but our ballots are no bigger really than my hand. You've got the people who are running in your area. You have your little tiny pencil. We don't have machines. You have your little tiny pencil. You tick off the box, you fold it up, you stick it in the bin, and off you go. And then there's a bunch of people. Like, we don't even have people who work full time in elections, the same as I've seen some in the United States. I mean, that's all they do all year long is run different elections and oversee that. We don't have that up here. When we have elections, people get hired for a short period of time, whether that means they're going out to make sure that, no, we get our stuff in the mail to notify us that we're able to go vote, and you have to take your card with you when you go vote. They have all the people at the different booths or polling stations, and then they have the people who are hired for the counting and all that kind of thing, and then election's done, and that's it until whenever it comes up again. And unlike in the US, a lot of our positions aren't elections. Like, our chief of police is hired, they're not elected like a sheriff. Our lawyers are not elected or appointed by the prime minister, they're hired. It's a very different way of doing things, for sure. And I mean, like anything else, there's up and down sides to that, because, if it's elected people, well, then you've got that constant turnaround of whenever elections come up. If it's someone who's hired and they're a putz, then it takes forever to get rid of them, and that's provided you even can. So that's another one of those, you just kind of have to weigh it out and kind of make the best of the system that you're in. But yeah, so like I say, just kind of trying to stay in my happy place. I keep looking out the window because I've noticed there have been a bunch of starlings flying by, but it's cloudy again. So I'm like, Oh, please, no rain. But on the upside, twice now we've had downpours and woohoo, zero water in the basement. Touch wood. Yep, I'm touching wood. So hopefully we finally have that leak issue taken care of. And for maybe the first time since February, we can finally start putting that room back together. And actually, it's funny. I'm going to see if I can actually pull up a picture of what that used to look like. Which may or may not work. You just never know. We'll have to. Is this gonna? Nope, not gonna open. All right, can't show you. Way too many of them. And see that, that's the other kind of thing too, Diane, is sometimes it's like a menu, right? If you have a little menu, it's really easy to pick what you're going to have for lunch or supper. But when you have 8 pages, it's overwhelming. I mean, I think it was your last election when there was the big hullabaloo about votes and the machines and everything else. And I must have been watching something about the ballots, and I was looking at it like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. Thanks, Diane. The deck is almost finished. I actually have, I made a video yesterday, so you'll be quite surprised to see some of the changes because we moved the stairs. So now instead of going off to the side, you go straight down. And my husband still has to screw in a few of the boards, but everything's been placed, and then we just have to stain it. So that part of the project is done. We used to have, and I think I had it in the video, where there was a lower deck towards Lily's condo and the feral cats. Well, now the ramp is gone and part of the deck has been removed. So Lily's condo is a standalone, her deck with plants, and she thought it was pretty cool. I even managed to catch her heading into the condo yesterday when I was sitting out. So we're almost finished all of that. Then we just need to fill in a bit along the back wall now that hopefully that leakage is done. And then that means can start putting that room together and finish with some of the insulation and things. And I can have my craft room back. And I may even set that up and do some of my videos down there. Because the funny thing is, since I've been taping upstairs, Panther hardly ever comes to hang out with me when I'm recording, unless I'm on the desk and trying to do notes or doing editing. And like I said, like 15 minutes before I started, Panther was right here laying beside me, and then off he went. Now he's out in the kitchen with Tiki, and they're both just chillaxing out there. When I used to record downstairs, he was funny. He'd be walking along the bookcases and walking along me. So I don't know what it is with the different location, but we may try down there. Hey, Tiki. Nope, she's going to go watch cat TV. I thought she was headed over here, but she's headed the other way. up to her cat tree perch. So, so things are coming along. I mean, the reading's coming along. different things are improving and boogieing along as far as the channel. So I'm excited about that. Then I think you were mentioning in your one video about trying to figure out the YouTube algorithm, which is just, Kat and I were talking about that the one day, and it's just a short trip to Crazy Town trying to figure that out. But I had to laugh, and I don't really pay a ton of attention to the analytics, other than returning viewers. And I'm still, woohoo, around the 30% returning mark. So I'm taking that as a win, even though the subs stay low, but that's okay. I like my little community and getting to know people a bit more. And I have wonderful people, so I'm immensely thankful for that. But when I was looking at the analytics, it's crazy because it shows your top videos. Like there's all kinds of things you can get into there. But it was showing the top videos, and my top 3 videos the last time I looked, one is about books, one is the cats, and one is about nature. What am I supposed to do with that? I mean, I'm glad all 3 things are getting views, but so I just keep doing my own thing, and as long as people are commenting and enjoying, then I'm going to stick with that. As long as I have returning viewers and they're enjoying the content and I'm getting helpful comments, and I always appreciate the kind words and people letting me know what they like. Sometimes people will suggest try this, or the wording's too short, I can't read it, and that type of thing. And all of that helps me in terms of developing and what else I'm going to do with the content. And yeah, just keep kind of plugging forward. And then we're going to get you to that 200 somehow. It definitely has to happen. I mean, if I could get there, anybody can get there. I was around the 50 up and down for the longest time. So there's got to be something to it. And I don't know. I mean, I've seen people who do shorts, and just 11. Close. They got to be out there. And hey, you had some new people at your live stream, so that hopefully helps as well, and that'll be good. And then see, you'll be leaps and bounds ahead of me. Yeah, shorts baffle me too. Hey, Jenny, how are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, I can't figure out shorts for the life of me. And I think part of it is because you do it on your phone, and I just find the screen too small, and I'm just afraid of either uploading or hitting the wrong thing. So, yeah. Now, see, it's funny, Ven. You say you get subs from lives rather than the videos. I tend to get them, at least from what I've noticed, is from the videos. I mean, the shout outs have certainly helped between different channels and things. Like, thanks to Book Chat with Pat is what pushed me over the 200. A year ago, it was World of Mr. Gray and Dead Cold Paranormal shouting out to their communities to come and help me out, which pushed me over the 100, and I started doing the live streams. But it's funny. It's what I did notice is the live streams. I mean, up until the last month and a little bit, was usually just me and one other person, and we were chatting away. And I love that there's more people popping in, because that also gives me stuff to talk about instead of just me like blah, blah, blah. But the funny thing is, when it was just me and one other person, I figured, okay, I've done this for months. It's not really going anywhere. And this person and I chatted through my comment section as well. So I decided to stop doing live streams. And then I noticed everything on my analytics was tanking. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. I didn't have a lot of people coming to the chats. What's going on? How's this all happening? And what I realized is people may not have been coming to my live streams, but they were watching it afterwards. So I had this amazing team rewatch, and that's when I realized and found out people actually listen to my live streams when they're driving to and from work or when they're doing other things. So I'm like, ever since I started doing live streams again, my arrows have all been going up into the green, which is great. But yeah, so I'm going to catch up. We did say hi to Jenny. Subs from lives. Most important thing, stay consistent. Excuse me, which is great feedback. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. Did a few really well. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, they're hit and miss like everything, right? I've seen yeah, I've seen some make it from their longer videos too, Jenny. And I know, and maybe that's where, I don't know if it's called repurpose or whatever. So I don't know if it's just if it's something that you can just do on your phone or if you can do it on your computer. It's something I need to look into a bit more. Okay, and then try and stick to a routine. Outlier due to work allows me to take stock. And yeah, that's a good point too, Ven. And sometimes we do have to take a break and sometimes just take a step back. And for myself, I'm home. So thankfully, I don't know how folks do it with work, and kudos to them doing both. But I think, sometimes just taking a step back. Tried to do a short for my longer videos. Coherent mess. Yeah, that's probably what would happen to me. Smart way to make clips from your lives. Yeah, there's another one. It's like the inside of my head. Live yesterday. Odd. As intend to have more people over the pond. This time UK heavy, which was nice. Yeah, and see, there's the other challenge, right, is trying to come up with times, because I think, Diane, you may be in my time zone. Is it 4:25 for you in Florida? But I know for other people like Ven and Jenny, it's 9 o'clock or like 8:30-ish, because you're 5 hours ahead. And so trying to plan the lives for when people can come in and join as well, because I've thought of doing some in the evenings. And actually, next week is going to be Friday at 7 p.m. because I'm going to have Dave from Book Blather joining me. And so the evening was better for him because he works through the day, which means sadly I'm going to miss Kat's reading sprint. Oh, nice, on the way home from work. But yeah, even trying to pick the date and the time. So, and like I say, I have to get some more emails out and book guests. Then I have you and Noah for the 29th, and we'll be on the after 3 o'clock on a Thursday then. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a great time. Yeah, Jenny, I was actually thinking of that with the biscuits because he stopped in when I had I think it was when I had Greg and Alan, and he was like, "What? No biscuits?" And I'm like, "No, no biscuits." So I definitely have to make sure I have them when I'm on his and or when he's on mine. I mean, duh. Backwards. And I have to eventually hear from Gareth, but I think he's got a ton on the go. And Jenny, if you would like to come on at some point, that would be awesome. We can pick a date and a time. Yeah, I time zones get me too, Diane, because I know with some people I'd be like, oh yeah, it's at this time, and they're like, so with Enzo, I had to remember because he's in Kansas, so he's an hour behind me. I'm like, okay, so it's 3 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock your time, and then planning with, well, like Ven and Noah, it's like, okay, they're 5 hours ahead. I mean, it's like time travel in the moment, right? And then for a while, there were some people I used to chat with from Australia, and they were like on the next day. I'm like, no, it's the evening. And they're like, no, it's the morning on this day. And I'm like, it's like Twilight Zone stuff sometimes. Can Hey, I would be happy to have you jump on here. That would be awesome. And yes, it is easier than filming. But one of these days you're going to get there and get started. And well, I have to admit, and Diane, I really enjoyed your comment about my overwhelm video the other day, and being a viewer and appreciating that. I have to admit, until I started doing this, I had no flippin' idea how long it could take to make a video and edit and figure all those things out, and then the time to upload and all of that stuff. But see, where was I going with that? Oh, and yeah, and I was thinking, there are days I can't lie. I'm thinking I'm just gonna go back to being a viewer. there's so many channels out there. It would just be so much easier. There'd be no more editing. But on the other hand, I'm having fun, and I'm that nerd that loves figuring this stuff out and doing new things. So that's why, compared to my earlier videos, and certainly before I caught on to a lot more of what I can do in iMovies, my videos were pretty basic, and no music, no this, no that. So it's fun. I mean, I'm having fun and enjoying stuff. So yeah, I'll stay content creating, but I have to admit, there's days it would be tempting to be a viewer and just leave these wonderful comments for people. Diane, Dave cheats, regular cookies and doggy Olive. That's true. Olive is an amazing co-host. And I admit, hey, I had the kitty treats, but my bums don't fall for it. They're just like such stinkers. Newbie tag. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that. And see, I never did a newbie tag. I didn't even know there was such a thing. And January is pretty much when I started getting in with the booktube community and meeting people and learning about all this stuff. But I'd already been on YouTube for almost a year and a half at that point. So I haven't done a newbie tag. I'm almost thinking of creating a newbie-ish tag because I'm a newbie to booktube, but I'm not a newbie to YouTube. Fun is what it's about. I agree. Yeah, Olive is adorable. And with Kat, you get Franny and little man Oscar, and then Jack and JB. They're like such a, and that's the other is funny. And Greg has his cats. The majority of channels I follow all have pets. Even if they're not on the screen, they're pet owners. Yeah, I agree, Jenny. Olive just, she has that look of love in her eyes and just stares at him. So adorable. Well, see, so Diane, one of these days I'll put up the link and you can just hop on in here and chit chat as well. And I mean, that's the other thing. And, Greg and Alan actually, the one time I happened to be watching them, had an open mic. And that was cool because I got to meet Read by Fred. So Fred through there and chat with Gareth, and that was kind of a neat experience. Can't get my cat to make camera. See? Like Panther. I totally get how that goes, Ben. Panther will be here, and he's done it 3 times now, little bugger. He'll be right here until about 10 minutes before the camera goes on. And I mean, the laptop's open, so that's not the clue that I'm, going live or anything. And the little fart just wanders off. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, I thought he was going to be so cute today, just laying here beside me in the chair, but nope, he's out laying in his box, not on his ortho bed. He's not in the camper. He's laying in it's the bottom of a mason jar box that he's had for like 7 years. And he's laying there, and Tiki's up at the top of the cat tree, which afternoons are usually quiet. Any other time of the day, she'd be boogalooing around, chasing her toys and getting into all kinds of shenanigans. Newbie tags are epic. What you talking about? Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that and maybe see if I can reword it or rephrase it. And I found out Dave hasn't done one either, because I mean, there's no guidebook to how to booktube or where you meet people. So I was kind of lucky. I just stumbled into this amazing group of people and just started getting involved a little while ago with, well, March, I guess, was my first book event. And then lately I've just been getting into doing book tags and things, which have been fun. And like I say, before the stream today, I was going through and making my notes, and then I'll track down my books and get those recorded, which is nice because then it just adds extra content and something different. May need to revise mine some point. There's an introduce yourself tag somewhere. Well, maybe take a look at that, or like I say, I may even just come up with some basic questions. And I'm gonna actually, Jenny, I will go look at your newbie tag so that I have the questions, and then maybe fiddle around with them a titch for us not so newbies but didn't do the tag. And I've been making, and seeing, there's the other part I got organized. So I have a big piece. It's not Bristol board. It's what's that thing everybody was into? Not paper mache. Not photo albums. Another mind fart. Something scrapbooking. There we go. And those big pieces of paper. So I divided mine up into 12 blocks for each month of the year. And then as I'm learning about book tag events, I've been adding those in. So I'm all set for next year, knowing when the different tags are coming up. and what to read for those months. And then because I had room at the bottom, what I've started doing is listing tags that I've done. And that's okay, Jenny, no worry. I'll figure it out as I listen. At the bottom, I've been putting tags that we can redo. So things like the mid-year freakout tag. So I know come next July or next June, I can do that tag again because I'll have read a whole different group of books and the answers will be different. So there'll be some that can be repeated because the answers will be different. So junk journals. See, Janie at the Crafting Bookworm does those. I've never done them. And I see these things and I'm like, oh, how can you call them junk journals? I mean, they're so incredible. But I know it's because they buy different books and use different items and put them together. So thus the name junk journals. But yeah, Janie has an amazing channel with the journals that she does. And, she shows you right from beginning to end and all these beautiful pages that she's designed. And so, Jenny, I'm glad you hopped in and mentioned that video because, like I say, I'm behind. I need to go checking through some different channels. I know there's a few, like 10 or more, that I'm behind on. It's like, almost need, okay, one, but see, then that doesn't work because everybody uploads at different times. I was going to say you need one day for YouTube, one day for reading. Yeah, housework has got to get in there somewhere. But if you've seen my Dust If You Must poem, the dusting sometimes is not high priority. It gets done, but if I have the option of dusting or reading a book, I'm reading the book. My kitties are not too picky about the condition of the house. It's clean. Their food bowls are clean. They have water. Their toys are clean. They're good. I have a very lived-in home. It's comfortable. It works for us. I'm not one of these obsessive compulsive cleaners. It's clean. Have to fill some more tags tomorrow. Pat and Aaron cheated. Started tagging me before I got started. Yeah, I actually two of the tags. Well, one I started work at Cat tagged me for the nightclub tag. And a few of the books I didn't have a problem coming up with an answer. A few, it's going to take me a little bit. And then Pat tagged me on the reader's profile tag. I think that one oh, nope, I've got 5 that I still need to figure out answers there. Oh, nope, that's the one I chose to do. Then bring browsing back is the one that Pat did tag me on. And that one actually isn't too bad because there's only 4 prompts and I'm pretty much done that one. So I may actually end up filming that one first because, like I say, the other ones I'm going to have to figure out. And then I saw your honesty, the honesty book tag. So I need to print that off and jot my answers down before I film. Because, yeah, I'm someone who I have to have something in front of me. I wish I could be like some people and just record and upload. But I say a lot of stupid things. I mean, by some miracle, I manage to behave in the live streams. But when I start talking about some of the books or when it gets to particular issues, I kind of veer off on a little rant. And then I'm like, yeah, no, edit that out. Like, you don't want that up there. So I just have to learn to harness this, or I still edit. File on my computer just takes questions. There you go. See, again, I'm homeschool, blah, 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 old school. Have them printed off on the for. Now I don't feel so bad then. When I first started making videos, so I had a channel in July 2021. It was April 2022 before I actually uploaded anything. And I would say probably in the first 2 or 3 months of making videos, I probably deleted more videos than I uploaded, because I'd do them and I'd listen to them and no, that doesn't sound right. No, I don't like that. And because I still wasn't good at editing. And at that point, I think I was still trying to figure out video editor in Microsoft, which was a freaking nightmare. So I would just delete them because it was just easier than trying to figure all that crap out. With iMovie, it's a bit better because you can, instead of having to figure out the seconds, you can just easily snip out what you don't want and add things in. But there's still times that I'll be like, yeah, I don't know. No, it's the wrong order. Oh, no, wanted to do this first. And that's part of why I have the paper, is if I've got it nice, and it's just bullet point forms. So I don't follow a set script, but I'll have little bullets so I know kind of what sequence or order I want to cover. And then that way I can double check that I've covered everything that I want. But yeah, and I'm so glad. And I think I did mention in the comments then, and I was the same. If I'd have known how to edit and not be in front of the screen, I would never have appeared in front of a camera. But now I'm actually kind of glad that I do, and I'm very glad that you do, because I know for myself as a viewer, it's nice to see the individual, and it makes it, I don't know, a little more personal. It's like hanging out with, well, in this case, me in my living room and just chatting about books, right? Versus seeing an AI, and it's not that same kind of connection. So I think that face helps. But I know that there's other people out there who have AI and whatnot because, either a lack of confidence or what have you, or the persona they wanna present. So again, you have to do what works for you. And well, now I'm out here, I figure I may as well stick with it. You're an AI, Jenny? I'm pretty sure it was a person I saw on with Dave and Gareth the other day. Just collecting tags. Good placeholder. Yeah, that's a good idea then, is to that way you've got them. Diane, know so many creators. They're behind on tags. Yep, fun. Do the ones you want, no stress. And that's exactly it, Diane, is. And that's the other thing I really love is there is no pressure about it. People aren't like, hey, I just tagged you and how come this is. It's one of those, and then exactly. It's one of those, if you kind of need a video or you just need to have some fun or you want to do something light, then the tags are there. So, Had it done in advance. Someone tagged me in it, decided to re-record it. Oh, there you go. Well, that's nice to do the shout out. And that's the other thing is I find a lot of people are so wonderful about shouting out other channels. And I know when I'm talking about books or different things, I suddenly think of someone. And so, I mention them. And I think that's the other wonderful part about the community and the people that I've connected with as well is, I mean, everyone does it. And that's kind of how the word gets out. Jenny's a figment of my imagination. I love your accent. If when I was traveling, had I been able to get to Scotland, that would have definitely been one of my go-to places. I've always wanted to see the Highlands. Now I can just do it via YouTube, which in a way is kind of cool because, no plane flight and getting achy in a airport or that. Notebook tag questions just to keep them all straight. Yep, see, that's another good idea too. I've been tagged, keep them all straight. Yeah, and Ven, you said you keep a file folder on the computer. And see, I just find it's easier to keep and I keep looking here because I've got my basket of things I need to organize. I just find it's easier by hand. I mean, I've been starting to set up folders for my different videos and things. So as I'm trying to get my pictures and that organized, I've been dumping them into the different folders so that I know what I want to do with them. And especially when it comes to the kids, because there's so many pictures there. But then I'm looking at 20 folders on my computer going, and the names are close to what I want to do. But then I'm like, crap, what pictures do I have in each of them? And it's just, I don't know. I've got to come up with some kind of system for that, especially with the kids, because then I get worried. Did I copy it? Did I cut it? Can I delete this folder? Do I have to combine this folder? It's just, yeah, I've got to come up with a better system. Ah, nice. Up to Scotland. Oh, soggy right now. See, it is cloudy, but hasn't started raining here yet. Only use a file, copy and paste, and back. Yep, that's true. All in one document. That's got to be one long flippin' document, Ven. That's like my master list of books, which I now know in terms of books to read, and I only know this because I did it this morning or just before the live. I have 588 books in my personal library, but that doesn't include my 20 some odd time life series or the mysteries of time and space, and it doesn't count my reference books. So I'm actually over 600 books now, which isn't too bad because over my lifetime, I've unhauled so many books. And I actually unhauled my entire fiction collection, which was 2 bookcases. But I never used to reread fiction, which is silly because I'd watch a movie more than once, but I wouldn't read a fiction book more than once. Now I could kick myself because I would have read all those books and had content for my channel. And it's like, ah, I can't remember what Miss Tidy Up's name is, that Marie whatever, and only have 30 books. And I'm like, no, I cannot do it. I probably have more than 30 books between those 4 cubes, let alone the rest of the cubes, that whole area, these cubes. The 16 cubes in the other room. There you go, Jenny. I'm pretty sure that's her. Who can only have 30 books in your whole house? That's just crazy talk. Unless I guess you do audio. But who, was it Steve Donahue? Might have been during one of the live streams because they were talking about audiobooks and what happens if they all disappear. And he was mentioning something happened with one of the things he had, and he lost thousands of books. I mean, I would lose my mind if suddenly those all, because, you know, you don't want to rebuy all of them. That's like a crap ton of money. And that's the one reason I get squeamish sometimes with ebooks. Oh, Jenny, that's awesome. Laughed when someone said 30 books. You mean on the nightstand, right? Exactly. Exactly. Then I love cleaning, not organizing, but I make a point of getting up, getting the house once a week. Oh, you the man. See, I can do that with yard work once a week. I think, yeah. And I mean, like I said, my house is clean, but, do I wake up in the morning and go, oh, it's house cleaning day. Let's go. Never. Bookcases are just chaos. Mine are part. We don't talk about my garden. Deal. We don't talk about my house cleaning. We won't talk about your garden. Although even my garden is, I just call it the jungle this year. The weather here has been so freaking nuts. It goes from insane hot, you're gonna melt like an ice cream, to the next day, and I mean like literally the next day, you're wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt because it's freaking cold and you have to close all the windows. That is not conducive to getting out and doing yard work by any stretch of the imagination. I rearranged all my dad's DVDs when he wasn't looking. Jenny. I think my grass is 2 feet high. It's like Dan from the world of Mr. Gray. It's hilarious. For a while, he was showing some pictures outside. It was nuts. I don't think, and he couldn't do anything with the lawnmower because it was like just way too high. Oh, yeah, I would love to see shots of Scotland. Oh, feed's leg. Oh, no, phone's going dead. And deliberately mix things up to avoid visitors. Oh, that's hilarious. Bamboo. Oh, that's right. You were saying and the bamboo wouldn't be easy to, that's like, and I don't think mine's bamboo. It's an ornamental grass. And the only reason I have it is for free plant stakes. Well, okay, and privacy, because it's like well over 10 feet, which is awesome. And I don't cut it down until the spring. And actually, this year I didn't, and I may not again. So I just go in and pick out what I need for plant stakes because, like I say, they're 10 feet. I can cut them in half, and boom, I'm not paying $3-4 at the garden center for something I can grow for free and use myself. Get your panda. Oh, wow. 6 feet in 6 weeks? Yeah, mine does. Yeah, I don't know. It might actually want a goat. See, and this is why I love having the groundhogs and the skunks, because the skunks eat my grubs, they clean up under the bird feeder. Well, okay, they eat cat kibbles and other stuff, but they're good. They help the yard. The groundhogs do some of my weeding for me. They eat the carrots. They also clean up under the bird feeder because those little birds are messy. They're like throwing seed all over the place, and the other critters clean up underneath. So I'm good with all of that. It's a nightmare. Okay, I didn't know. See, now my grass hasn't really spread very far, which is good because it only started in a small pot when I bought it, but it hasn't really taken over anything. It's like in one area, but it really hasn't spread very far to annoy my neighbors. Yeah, see, like I say, I love mine because it's in one section. It's not a huge section. We have evergreens in other parts, and the trees are all getting up and over the fence. So I love that privacy part of it. But I do need to get some things cut back a bit, and I'll have to make some choices. And hopefully in the fall, we're going to be redoing the fence to the east, which should have been done years ago, but that's a whole other story. So hopefully this year we can get that done and then get those trees and things taken care of. I like the way we have ferns. Oh, ferns would be awesome. That's one thing I don't have. Lots of sticks. Very true. Can make Hey, bamboo is very popular and trendy these days. If you could come up with a craft ven, you could have like a whole other sideline there. Get like an Etsy store or something and sell bamboo. Is gonna check because I haven't heard from no, still haven't heard from the man. Because he should be arriving home in a little while. But must mean it was a longer day at work. Or he remembered that I have a live stream on Thursday, because every once in a while he'll text me and I'm like, I can't talk to you right now. I'm talking to my peeps on YouTube. Like, seriously. Good idea, Jenny. Decorations. Rock some more. Oh, Ven, come on. You're selling yourself short. There's got to be something you can do, man. YouTube bamboo crafts. Somebody's probably made a video and you can follow along. So I figured out knitting my own dishcloths and scrubbies. It's just something that I did for a little while. And it was fun, but I don't know if I'll do it again because you have to buy cotton yarn, which was okay, but they didn't turn out, some of them turned out great, but not as good as I had hoped. So, oh, there you go. Plants for vases. Do you like, oh yeah, it is a bamboo that people grow. Must be a different type of bamboo though, because I think some of it grows slow, some of it grows crazy fast. But yeah. And hey, I just realized we're coming up to 2 hours. So thank you so much, everyone, for keeping me company and hanging out. Then you're just not going to take a compliment no matter what, are you? Anyhow, folks, like I said, I just realized it's 5 o'clock and we've been chatting for 2 hours. I've really appreciated everyone coming to hang out and sharing some chuckles and having a good time. Fantasia. This has been a wonderful afternoon. I really appreciate everyone popping by and sharing their thoughts. Jenny, it's wonderful to see you. Haven't seen you in a bit, so this was great. And Ven and Diane, thanks so much for hanging out. I'm not sure if Bat poofed at some point, may have got busy with the day, but it was lovely to see everybody. I was a bit nervous about coming on by myself again after having guests, but hey, we made 2 hours go like that, so it was awesome. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. And remember, next week is going to be Friday, 7 p.m. with Dave, maybe Olive, and definitely some biscuits. Oh, 5 a.m. start. Brutal. All right. Take care. Thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate it.